Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm doing a video on unjamming AR-15s. And the question that sometimes people will ask me is, do AR-15s jam so frequently that we have to practice unjamming them? And the answer is no, they don't jam that frequently. But it is definitely something that we want to prepare for, okay? Now, sometimes people will ask me, do AR-15s jam more frequently than AK-47s? And the answer to that is yes. I mean, if you in a side-by-side comparison, you are more likely to have some type of a malfunction with an AR-15 that takes a little bit more work to get it unjammed. But AK-47s do also jam up, okay? The thing with the AK-47 is because it has a reciprocating handle that's going back and forth, basically I can, if I have a really bad jam, I can basically, if I have to, I can just kickstart this to get this bolt to move back, okay? With the AR-15, because it does not have a reciprocating handle, right? This does not go back and forth every time you shoot it. It stays in position while the bolt goes back and forth. For certain jams that I'm going to review, you cannot kickstart this. You have to use other techniques, which are definitely a little bit more time consuming, okay? So that is definitely a disadvantage in the AR-15 system, which is, again, not to say that AKs never jam, but when they do, it's generally a little easier to unjam them because it has that reciprocating handle. But there are disadvantages to the reciprocating handle. Okay? There's a reason why they designed the AR-15 the way they did. If you're in the bushes shooting this, okay, this can get caught up on things. It can get caught up on vines, on bushes. If you're, in the ground shooting, like in a fetal position, and there's like a sandbag or something to the side, this can get caught on that, and that will cause a stoppage, okay? So the reciprocating charging handle can cause jams. Now, basically, we want to be familiar with the weaknesses and the strengths of either gun and know how to work around them, okay? Now, one of the big advantages of the AR-15, because of its design, is that you can do quick magazine changes, okay? Magazine goes in, comes out. I can do a quick reload and easily retain the magazine, okay? I'll do it this way so you can see it. Okay. I cannot do that as efficiently with the AK-47. Okay. With the AK-47, the magazine rocks in. If I want to do a magazine change, if I want to do, let's say, a tactical reload, I pretty much have to remove this first, then go, let's say, into my pouch, pull this one out, and then rock that in. There's really no efficient way for me to hold both of these magazines in my hand and at the same time be able to hit that lever there. The magazines are simply too thick for me to be able to do it. I mean, if I tried hard enough, I could probably get that to work. But the point is that I won't be able to do that if I'm being shot at, if I'm in the middle of a gunfight. Whereas with the AR-15, even in a highly stressful situation, you're able to do this. It's not that hard. It's just the way. This is the reason why this rifle was designed the way it was designed, okay? So let's put the AK aside for a second and let's concentrate on the AR-15 and let's work on different types of jams that you can have. All right. Basically, I got a bunch of magazines here. They all pretty much have like 2, maybe 3 rounds in them. And what I want to do, let's see, let me find the one that I want. There you go, I want this one. And I'm going to go through a couple of jams, okay? The first jam, very simple. You're shooting, okay? All right. You're shooting. Oh, and you get a jam, okay? Now, it is normal for you to think that, oh shit, I'm out of ammo. Time to just change the magazine. So you're going to drop the magazine, okay? And then you're going to try and shove that one back in there. And the chances are that if you have a jam, like in this case I had an empty case in there just to set this jam up. Now in this particular case, the case came out with the magazine, but you can have a situation where that stays in there, okay? It's empty now. What I advise is if you're doing a magazine, let's say you run dry, and the gun locks back, flip the gun over, look at it before you do that magazine change. And You know, it's really doesn't take that much. So basically, if I'm shooting under normal conditions, what I want to do is look at it, drop it, put the next one in. So looking, taking a second to look inside your ejection port to make sure that you have an empty magazine and not a jam is going to go a long way towards you not jamming the gun up even more. Okay, so if there's a jam in there, like in that particular case, all I would have had to do is drop it. If the case was in there, all I got to do is basically finger it. If I wiggle my fingers around in there, it's going to come out. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a second type of a jam. Okay. In this one, here, what I'm going to do is I got a magazine in here that's got some rounds in it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw this one into the ejection court, and I'm going to close it. And what I have now is 2 rounds that are trying to feed into the chamber. Okay. So this is another type of malfunction that you might have. These steps are always more or less going to be the same. Okay, look at it. Okay, so basically you run dry. Now obviously if you have a fresh magazine and the gun just jammed up on you, you know it's a jam. But if you've already fired, let's say 20, 15, 20 rounds, you may think that you're empty. Okay, in which case you would just rip this out. Okay, you would take the next one, shove it in there. And basically, I'm shoving this magazine into a gun that is jammed. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm gonna put the other magazine in there that wasn't there. Basically, I'm gonna look at it, say, "Oh shit, it's jammed." Rip the magazine out, lock the bolt open. Okay, in this case, both rounds fell out. I can see it's empty. If they didn't, I would just stick my fingers in there and wiggle them, right? And usually that will knock them out. Okay, so those are the 2 most common types of jams that you will see, and they're very easy to fix. Rip the magazine out, lock the bolt open, look at it, stick your fingers in there if you need to, basically get them out, okay? Now, one of the things I want you guys to be aware of, I just dropped a couple of live rounds here. I don't, these are all like 223, 5.56 caliber. I don't have any 300 blackout. If you're training with people that are using 300 blackout, because naturally you're not going to leave those rounds there. At some point you're going to collect them. Okay? If there's anybody in your shooting area or on the range that might be possibly shooting a 300 blackout, make sure you inspect each of those rounds very carefully to make sure that you don't put a 300 blackout in a 5.56 gun. Sometimes it'll just jam. Sometimes you'll actually blow the gun up, because what will happen is when it tries to feed, it'll push the bullet back into the case a little bit, and it'll chamber, and then basically you'll shoot a 30 caliber into a 22 barrel, and everything goes poof. Okay. All right. That said, I'm now going to show you a third type of a jam, and this one is by far the most difficult. It is also the least. It's the least common. It's not. You're not going to easily get this type of a jam, but it does happen. It's happened to me maybe. I think once or maybe twice when I was actually shooting for some unknown reason. And this is over a course of 6 years. 6 years, it's all, and I do a lot of shooting, obviously. It's happened 2 times. So it's not likely that it's going to happen. Now, in this case, I'm going to actually induce it. I'm going to make this jam. And what I'm going to do is I got a round in there, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to roll this over on the side. I'll do it this way so you can see it. I'm going to turn this upside down and up, right? And then I'm going to close the bolt, okay? And what I have now is basically a cartridge over a bolt, right? You can see how basically that cartridge right now is stuck between the top of the bolt and the charging handle. And basically because it's stuck on the charging handle, you cannot pull this thing back. And if you don't know how to unjam this, this is a death jam, okay? So like always, first thing you're going to do is rip out your magazine, okay? Look, we look at it, we can see that, boy, that's a cocksucker. Right, you're going to try to pull this back. This is not going to go. Okay? Usually you can get it to move back just a little bit, and that's all we need for it just to move a little bit. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my finger in there. I'm going to try and wiggle See if I can wiggle that, because I have two cartridges in there now. One on top of the bolt, the other one's in front of the bolt. That one's not coming loose. So what I'm going to do is, now that I pulled the charging handle back just a little bit, I'm going to stick my middle finger in there, push back on that bolt while pushing forward with the charging handle. And in most cases, that is going to come loose. Well, one came out. The other one is still in there. And basically I'm doing the same thing, because it's still, here you go, you can take a closer look at it, still on top of the bolt. That's sandwiched between the bolt and the charging handle. So again, I'm going to stick my middle finger in there, push back on the bolt while pushing forward on the charging handle, and boom, it just popped it out. Careful not to slam the bolt on your finger like I kind of did it. I didn't do it that hard, but that can hurt if you do it hard. And now the gun is ready to fire, okay? And that is a death jam. If that happens to you in a gunfight, that can be that can end you, okay? Now, there is a quicker method to do that, which I'm going to demonstrate to you guys, okay? First, let me set this up again. So I'm going to stick that in there. I'm going to induce that jam by pulling the gun on its side like this. I'm going to throw the cartridge in, turn it over and back, and basically, as you can see, I can kind of wiggle it. It's basically sitting on top of the on top of the bolt right now, and now I'm just going to hit the charging handle, and boom! Look at that beautiful jam. Okay, this is not a jam that happens easy. Like I said, it might happen 2 or 3 times in your life unless you actually force it to happen. So now I'm going to demonstrate a quick way to do this. So as always, we're going to drop the magazine, see if this will move. This will not move, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mortar the rifle, okay? This technique is called mortaring. It's a fast technique. It's basically not nice to your gun. What I did is I changed the stock on this before this drill. I basically put one of these cheaper ones on. I took off the nice one. So I would definitely recommend you do that. What I'm going to do is, now that I want to definitely collapse the stock. I'm going to come over here to a nice grassy area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the inertia of the buffer tube to basically bring this, bring that bolt back by basically slamming it into the ground. So did you get it? There you go, clear. Okay. So that is called mortaring. Okay. And basically at that point you're ready to shoot something. All right. And basically when you practice this drill, you want to do this under a timer, where basically you can see how quickly you can unjam the gun and get the gun back into action. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know, post some comments, let me know what you guys think. Try it out. Give me, let me know what results you guys got. One of the things with this type of a drill is if you're trying to do it under a timer, because the jams can happen somewhat differently each time, just because of the jams, your time might be off. So you might be just as fast or faster, but the nature of the jam might actually slow you down just a tad bit. But all the same, try it under a timer, see how fast you can get. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Talk to you guys next time.